In our study, we analyze when and why alliance partners use good faith provisions. Good faith provisions are clauses in contracts that allow parties to engage in fair and honest negotiations with each other, and they also permit parties to have more flexibility when contingencies arise. And you may think that this is a very good clause. It is enforceable and flexible at the same time, but they also carry major risks and uncertainties when it comes to their enforcement in courts. And this trade-off is at the heart of our study.
Our study adds a new perspective to understanding governance choices in strategic alliances by introducing the concept of cognitive frame similarity. And a cognitive frame is like a cognitive lens through which members of an organization can kind of view or make sense of all kinds of organizational issues. That is like through shared values, shared beliefs, or even ways of processing information. What we do in our paper, we argue that the more similar the cognitive frames of alliance partners, the more likely they agree on flexible governance mechanisms, such as good faith provisions. Where did we find these shared cognitive frames? We find them in the About Us sections on the web pages of these companies. And what we do is we leverage the language that is used on the web pages. And we combine more qualitative inductive coding with scalable algorithmic text analysis approaches. This allows us to identify 5 overarching cognitive frames. So like motivation, responsibility, strategy, innovation, and time. For example, the cognitive frame time is related to words like long-term, future, current, and so on. And as we show in our paper, this has a lot of explanatory power to understanding governance choices.
What we find is that companies that have high cognitive frame similarity are more likely to use good faith in alliance contracts. And high cognitive frame similarity means that these companies function in a similar way, they think similarly, they view the world in a similar way. We found these results in a large sample of more than 1,000 contracts in the biopharmaceutical industry, and we measured this cognitive frame similarity by looking at these companies' About Us websites. And we not only found this positive relationship between cognitive frame similarity and the use of good faith, but we also found that this relationship becomes stronger the more technological uncertainty there is in this focal alliance. And we find that this relationship becomes weaker the more experience the two partners have in forming alliances.
Cognitive frame similarity matters because when two alliance partners have similar outlook and perspective on things, it actually induces shared understanding between them. And this, we believe, leads to a higher level of predictability and reliability between the partners as well. So what this means is that this shared mindset would reduce the perceived risk of relying on good faith provisions. This is because with a higher level of trust between the partners, even when things don't go as expected, they can be more confident in terms of their ability to handle these unexpected situations in fair and cooperative fashion.
So our findings, we believe, are indeed important for practice for at least 3 reasons. First of all, our study shows how much and in which specific ways negotiating, especially specifically in strategic alliances, are influenced by subtle, potentially unaware cognitive structures and biases. Second, specifically, we show the potential implications of what we term cognitive frame similarity, and we argue that managers and negotiators should be aware of these biases and specifically this idea of cognitive frame similarity. And third, more generally, in causing executives to think about these mechanisms generally and specifically, we might be able, through our study, to contribute to the creation of more resilient and effective contracts.